Hey guys, welcome to BP, the Bible Perspective. A Florida cop was just relieved of duty for handcuffing, arresting, taking down the jail, fingerprinting, mugshot, a 6-year-old girl. But the bigger issue to me with this is, why did this cop, or how did this cop look at this 6-year-old girl? That's the bigger issue with policing today. Now before we get into it, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a comment or a question, add it in the comments section. All comments are welcome. Now, one of the shocking videos, and you can go on YouTube and you can view this video of a Orlando, Florida cop who arrested an unruly 6-year-old. I think she had stomped on an administrator or something like that. She was unruly. Now here's the thing. The school called the cops. Cops came. This particular cop decided after a while he was going to arrest this 6-year-old child. In the video, you can hear the 6-year-old child crying, pleading that she didn't want to go to jail. She didn't want to get into a police car. And of course, against all his hardness, he still arrested her. Keep in mind, he cuffed her. He used actually zip ties, put her in the police car, took her down to jail. A cop, yes. But here's the problem, though. I have a problem, and it's not the school district, even though, yes, the school systems have problems. But I have a problem with people and how they view this 6-year-old girl. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. It's usually white cops, okay, who would arrest a child. And we have other stories of cops manhandling black, usually teenagers. We just had another one recently where a cop had arrested a 10-year-old. I think it was she was 10 or 11 years old. Okay, arrested her. She was unruly, but she also had some mental issues. But he arrested her. You had another cop. Again, these are over the last several years. Remember the one cop that barreled over in Texas and arrested a girl. But besides the fact she was in her bikini, wrestled this girl. And because she mouthed off to him. So the problem is that we've always had these issues with how cops treated African American students. And let's not forget the Tamara Rice, who was 12 years old, playing in a park, and some people called. They're another story, but they called, and the cops rode up on him within like 10 to 15 feet, and 2 seconds shot him dead. Now, why am I saying all this? I'm showing a pattern where cops are doing this. And I want to see video of where white kids are being handcuffed, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, are being handcuffed and carted off to jail for being unruly in school. Now let me make it clear. I'm not saying that the unruly kids shouldn't be dealt with. I say that they should be dealt with in a stern way. I think there is a stern way of dealing with kids. But to call the police on them, and then when the police comes, they arrest them as if they were criminals. By the way, this cop has had a history. He has had several complaints. And then on the video, the cop is even heard saying how he brags about how many thousands of arrests he has. And I think the youngest was 7. And when he was told the girl was 6 years old, he sort of like replied, well, she just broke the record. Now, this cop was released. He was let go. I think he was even doing this maybe even on a volunteer basis. But here's my point. One, look at the administrators who called the police. Why would you call the police? And secondly, when the cop comes, look at how they felt. This cop, how he felt. When he looked at this 6-year-old girl, what did he see? And this is the problem with policing. That how policing it's been ingrained with them. And if you want to step back and get a broader picture, this goes deep into the roots of racism that is intrinsic in America's DNA. That how we have been conditioned to see African Americans. I would also even challenge that when you see kids who are being charged as adults, and I don't like that at all. I don't think you should ever charge a child as an adult. Now here's my point. I understand that there are some heinous crimes, but that's what the juvenile case is for. And then if they need to roll it over into an adult situation, there's some common sense ways you can do that. Here's my problem, that when people are who are in authority, and you go back to this school system in Orlando, remember it was the school that called the police. They summoned the police. I have a problem with them too, how they see black children. This is the problem. There was a story just in the news about the police who arrested, and if you see this couple, the one couple, I think she was like 62 and then he was a little older, right? They were overweight, they were old, but yet police surrounded them. Here's the problem when policing, it is ingrained in them that African Americans are animals, criminals. And the only way that you can deal with them is force, brute force, extreme force, deadly force. You know, we just been in the news, stop and frisk is back in the news because Mayor Bloomberg, who is running for president, and he's gaining in numbers, that his past is haunting him. And the reason why is because he defended the New York City's stop and frisk. Now here's the thing about stop and frisk. Stop and frisk as a tool, a police tool, is very valid. But there are parameters. There are constitutional parameters in this, in exercising, employing stop and frisk. One, you have to have a reason to stop them. It's our constitutional right. The beauty of our Constitution says we have a right to roam free. And a cop just can't come up and stop you because he wants to. He has to have reasonable, articulate reason to stop you. And sometimes that bears out normally. But what New York said is you don't need that, police. Now they said we wasn't talking about race when we put that law. That makes it even worse. Because then, guess what? If my wife tells me, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you you can't commit adultery on me. And then I go out and commit adultery. That's even worse because it proves I'm not loyal to her. And the idea of the stop and frisk, they said the law wasn't designed with any race in mind. And then the New York City cops stop black and brown or black and Hispanics 90% of the time. That's even worse. It proved you all were racist. 84% of the time, they didn't find any reason for the stops. Here's my problem with this. They targeted black and brown, and you gave them the power to do so. Now back to this cop. This cop was black. Okay? But that doesn't mean anything. Because black people see other black people as animals. The black on black crime is the same way. That, yes, is a condition of what happened in slavery. So when people point out where it's black, so what? Blacks can be just as worse because they have been conditioned themselves. Remember the word nigger was used as a tool to condition the mind that black people were inferior. So when people go, well, black people use that word against them because they were conditioned to, but so were whites. My point is that one of the problems is laws has to be changed. I would say conditioning in mind. I don't care about sensitivity training. Laws have to be enacted to hold people accountable for violating our most sacred constitutional rights. And that's when this kind of garbage is going to stop. Now this guy quit. Well, If he just quit, so what? More needs to be done. If they're held accountable, they'll stop this treatment. And these stories go on and on and on. 6-year-old, 12-year-old Tamara Rice. This is the conditioning of the mind. And sometimes people grow out of it, but that's why we need laws that hold them accountable. That's my perspective. And as always, like and share this video, and subscribe to BP The Bible Perspective. Till next time, see you then.